Welcome back to the Real Double Dose channel. This is your host, Lex, coming to you straight from the heart where the talk is real and the vibe is always live. Anything you want to say, as we always say, reach out to us at Real Double Dose channel at yandex.com. That's yandex.com, and as well as realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com. Wonderful insights, cool pages, wonderful, just all kinds of goodies throughout those Blogspot pages. And at the bottom of the Blogspot, you can find the About Me section with different links to our books, different copyright disclaimers, anything that you want to know of inserts and so much more. And you can find that on our SoundCloud as well as the Blogspot. We do have a .com of the Real Double Dose channel and wonderful things loading out there for our spirit and mind elevation transformational course programs, classes coming out too. We're excited about that, as well as different ones that are going to be offered when YouTube rolls out. If you want to check us out on other platforms, or you are right now from the thousands of you that are streaming in, that is Real Double Dose channel always, and that's going to be TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, Spreaker.com, Blueberry.com, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Google Cast. We also have iTunes, iHeartRadio, and there's much more, and I hope I'm not skipping them all. Of course, our SoundCloud, and maybe about 12 outlets, if not more, and flipping over to FM potentially soon. So just remember, the book release is coming soon, and all those who want to get their hands in there first will have a shout out too. And all from our past winners of our gift card giveaways, all 75 of you, we thank you for your listening hearts and so much more. And we also have our vacation giveaway packages that are coming as well and that are here. So sign up for those, and don't forget at Real Double Dose channel handle on our Instagram page and RDDC Lex Team /Facebook. You know how it goes. So without further ado, let's dig right in. And without any hesitation, let's get right to it. As hashtag, and this is our show, this is the topic, this is the segment, episode, is hashtag separate to elevate. Now, what's separation to elevation? But at the same time, we're going to just mix and mingle with it. And like we always say, Tony will officially give us our quote title. But separate to elevate is the same thing we want to say. And it's kind of straight to the nitty gritty. I mean, there's really, when you hear hashtag separate to elevate, that's what it comes down to, right? So I wanted to give us a little bit more seasoning when it comes down to this, because it's something we all have to do on all aspects of our lives at any given time. Right now, tomorrow, could have been yesterday, but this is what it is. The point is, when we have things that we're attached to, then it's kind of hard to let those things go. We somehow convince ourselves that we need the attachment to these things in order to grow, when it's actually the reason why we're not growing in the first place, let alone going where we need to go. It's the same motto I've said, different ones, and different ones have said before me, where you have a ship that's sailing you over to the other side, and we want to put all the passengers and bags on there so we can carry everyone over with us. And then ultimately, we don't have enough gas, we don't have enough engine fuel, we don't have enough that was calculated for only that trip for ourselves. Now we've jeopardized being sunk or stuck in the middle of that ocean instead of crossing over to the other side because we want to be the ride for everyone else, right? Break that down a little bit further, we can get in a little bit more grittier. It could be compared to also having a habitual habit or something that we know is not necessarily the best thing for us, and we're hard to let that go. And obviously it comes different for certain different types of family issues and certain type of different job, issues, and you have to apply it with common sense. You can see that disclaimer as well at RDC. Blogspot. But common sense to frequency, to use that to say, hey, what am I doing here? And what's going on here? Now, from a page from my book, as I always like to put in there for all of us, just to utilize a little bit, or some people that share with me are friends, or Angela, Tony, the ones who help with RDC team, are part of the movement. When it comes down to being able to have, like, for example, toxic relationships, toxic friendships, toxic job atmospheres, it's always a way to transition out of it and elevate ourselves to the next level, elevate ourselves to a different place to where it's not so stressful, as well as being able to elevate ourselves by health. There's always a way to separate from something bad to good, no matter how the outcome may be. If we're used to having a whole huge horrible diet with grease and high sugars and salt, it's easy to think about doing it, but implementing it is a little bit more shifting, should I say. But we know that more fruits and vegetables, more leaner meats and healthier lifestyle, or moving around a little bit more, will definitely also alter us. Same thing for my page in my book, I'll say. A certain particular individual, I won't say any names, obviously, but it seems like it's almost an attachment. It's almost like let's put it this way. It's almost like this huge mosquito. There you go. Referencing a huge mosquito that's latched on. For some reason you felt bad for it. You let it have a little bit of blood. You thought it was just sitting on your shoulder at first. Let it have a little bit of a blood sucking mechanism that it does. And you say, okay, it's not going to have any more. But eventually you start looking at that little mosquito and you start seeing how big it's getting in growth. How much it's just filling up on you. And you feel weaker and weaker and weaker in different aspects. And you're like, man, this thing is time to cut this off. But you're so used to it being there, in some way you fear cutting it off is going to be, detrimental to its life growth and all this time you spent nurturing it and letting it use the blood that you've given it. I know it's a bad example, but it's a bloodsucker. So at the same time, you don't cut it off. And eventually you say, look, enough's enough. Now, not piggybacking off of that, you can use whatever idea of what I'm trying to make an example off of, not a mosquito. But ultimately, that's what it is. It comes down to the little teeny things that we don't see are huge and large. Just like a drip or a leak you have in your house. Eventually, that leak is going to be to the point where it bursts a pipe. And then you're going to have to call someone to fix that pipe if your house is in flood first. And a lot of damage, a lot of things need to be done, and paying the plumber, so much more. Same thing when you see something going on with your car. Yeah, the gas might not be on E yet, but you keep driving around. Eventually, that car will stop and will not budge until the gas is refilled. And hopefully nothing else happened in between that. Separation to elevation. Hashtag separate to elevate is a question that we have to ask ourselves. No matter how we break it down, how many parables, how many analogies, what is it that we need to separate from in order to elevate ourselves to where we need to be on all aspects of life? Apply that and think of it. Is it a spouse or conversation of how a person treats you? Now, separate doesn't have to necessarily mean walking away from it and just shaking your hands and saying, oh, okay, I'm done, ya estuvo, Spanish. Okay, it could be different ways to do that. It could be different ways saying, hey, look, I'm going to separate myself from the problem. We need to fix it, or you need to fix you, and then we'll elevate together. Or sometimes it is better to walk away than stay and be completely in that chaotic mind frame or chaotic state. My problem used to be caring for those much more than I was willing to even evaluate and look at myself, and realizing if I fail today or tomorrow, they're so hooked on themselves being the focus of my life and the focus of their life is themselves, that if I fail today or tomorrow, they would probably care, like, oh goodness, the attachment that I was stuck to or the person that I was leaning on is not feeling well. But ultimately they're so sick and stuck in their mind that it would definitely take me down, and let alone them down, but it wouldn't be any help for me. The sick cannot heal the sick, and the blind can't lead the blind. Now, different ways they can, to where they can lead each other somewhere, but not to the end result of where they're trying to go if they have no navigational system. The sick can't heal the sick. If you're sitting there on your knees and you're coughing and you're not feeling well and you're just throwing up and different things are happening and the other person's right by you doing the same thing, we can only try to nurture them so far. But if our fever's tipped to 110 and theirs is 112, we're both about to pass out. So ultimately, you have to apply it how it goes. Hashtag separate to elevate means, what is it that we need to separate from? Right? Separate definitely means where you have to be. It means excelling ourselves. It means reaching to those higher points. And it's okay to understand that everything and everyone is not meant to come with you. Just like everything and everyone understands that you're not meant to come with them. When you leave to go different jobs, you leave some friends behind. You leave to go different schools or move to another state, you leave some things behind. That doesn't mean those things were toxic to begin with, but you had to elevate yourself to the next level, no matter what level that was, to experience the next gateway of your life, our life itself. Now, understanding to be able to be moved to say, hey, this is not what it's going to be. Like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And ultimately, you think about it and it kind of makes you feel some kind of regret, because you're looking at it like, man, when you get to that point to where you have separated and you're going in your elevation levels, you're going to have a little bit, not necessarily regret, but some contingency to where you're thinking, man, if only I had let go sooner. I used to say, well, it won't let go of me. Yeah, Lex, keep telling yourself that. And my sister, God rest her soul, always told me, even though some of the things she didn't apply to herself at the end to a certain level, we can't know everyone's journey, but a person only gets away with as much as you let them get away with. And that's the truth. Or, certain habits or things that we do. But one thing I've learned, I might be a little more calmer in my frequency, but one thing I've learned is hashtag separate to elevate. We will not reach where we need to go unless we separate from the problem, separate into finding a better solution, and have the elevation that we need in order to propel forward. Anything that you're seeing and you're sifting from your life that is not adhering or basically being a counterpart of positivity or acceleration towards the goal or the purpose of where you need to go needs separation in order for you to get to that elevation. No matter what, everyone has it. Everything has it. If a chef is cooking, a chef needs that in order to start making new dishes on the menu to help bring more customers and keep that business alive. If a fitness instructor is doing certain routines and workout routines, they're going to need to elevate that or more intensify for different ones that come in to elevate themselves to the next level. Everything comes into play. Everything goes. And if a mechanic wants to have a mechanic shop and he's only limited to doing 15 things on a car, and there's about 45 things that could be added to that in order to keep his business going and keep his mind growing, he's going to have to learn those skills and do those things in order to keep it moving. So at the end of the day, hashtag separate to elevate means, what are we holding on to that needs to be let go of? And what is holding on to us that won't let us go? And at the end of the day, you have to assess yourself and get something to where you have even a piece of paper, a recording, whatever you need, and say, these are the pros, these are the cons. At the end of the day, we're going to try to convince ourselves that eventually, just like a hoarder, I'm not going to name some names. I got my little miniature hoarding when it comes down to getting certain things and not letting go of certain aspects. But for the most part, I'm pretty good, very low modest. But when it comes down to that, we need to say, hey, this is keeping us still. This is keeping us standing still. And ultimately, the only one that we need to separate for ourselves from is the self within us that is keeping us standing still, to think that we don't need to separate from the one thing that's holding us back from elevation. Because some of us, it's not even the point of even having someone in our repertoire or our little circle to hold us back. We're just saying, oh, what's this? Well, I'm tired. And those are legitimate facts. I know the exhaustion level. I know the feeling of not wanting to be bothered. I know those feelings. And it's not an excuse, but it's something that we're using in our excuses to make ourselves less resourceful because we feel like we don't have as many resources, right? Ultimately, it's going to come down to the simple understanding that in order for us to move forward, we have to be able to look back, cut it off right where it belongs, and say, look, this is where we need to be. This is not a New Year's resolution. This is an everyday resolution. And it's going to be something that we do every single day. If we took one shower and we're clean for the rest of our lives, no matter what we did, there would be no point for, bars of soap and all kinds of stuff. If we sprayed perfume one time and it lasted us on every piece of outfit forever, that would be an industry that was closed off. Everything needs to be refreshed, renewed, restored. And that's the same thing we need to give for ourselves. And today, right now, as you're hearing this is your new year. Yesterday and 6 months ago has been your new year, your new day, your new chapter, your new life. It's been all of ours for the taking. It doesn't take 2020 at December, on New Year's Eve for that to happen. It's a beautiful time, but it's not an excuse to say, oh man, when January 1st comes around or January 2nd, I'm going to have to do these things. No, you can do it right now. That's what I'm doing right now. And everything that we take from these will definitely require separation and elevation. Everything that we had before, every business that you're a part of, every relationship that you're into is going to take that. So just like a child has to separate itself from crawling in order to walk, in order to be running, that's the same thing we have to do. Just like a person wants to excel in a job and not just be stuck in one position, they have to elevate their mind, elevate their heart, just like love. Every day is elevation to keep that relationship growing and going, no matter how good it is. And if it's something that's not fitting to you and that person in a healthy looking way, separate to elevate. Whether it be a friendship down the line or you finding more discovery within your chapters of yourself or creating them and being who you need to be. So this is your host, Lex. I wanted to put hashtag separate to elevate. You know what it is. We know what it is. Hopefully we all apply these things. Happy late Turkey Day. I put that in the last episode right before Thanksgiving, but I just wanted to shout out just in case some of you felt a little stuffing and cranberry salty. Just saying, not saying. But yeah, I want to put that out there. So be the change, feel the passion, embrace the power of the spirit. You're amazing and you're wonderful. Don't forget to check us out at realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com and the Real Double Dose channel at yandex.com. Shout us out, see what's going on, use a hashtag, whatever it is, send your love. You're amazing, you're wonderful, and pretty much everything in between. We'll be back with you very, very, very soon.